What is going on? I'm Cole, and I am joined here today with my co-host, 22 Comics. How are you doing today?
What's good? What's good? Thank you, Cole.
Oh yeah, and thank you for joining me. This is kind of impromptu. We've kind of been talking about it on and off for a while, and I figure, what a better time than right before Halloween to get into a show and talk about a bunch of random stuff. So, I know this is kind of the first time that we're doing these Thirsty Thursday talks. So, I figure, most people here probably know who I am, but maybe if they don't know who you are, I've recommended your channel multiple times. So hopefully they've gone over there and they've seen you. But if they have not, let us know, like, what exactly like brought you into collecting? Like, what do you like to collect? What are you into right now?
So right now, like throughout the years, I've collected either cards or comic books. Mainly, I collected cards as a child. I've collected action figures. I've collected a little bit of everything as far as like pop culture, kind of like nerd stuff. Now it's mainly down to like Ghostbuster action figures, comic books, and whatever like type of Hot Wheel catches my eye. So
Oh, I did not know that.
yeah.
What I guess what kind of a Hot Wheel is the kind of Hot Wheel that would catch your eye right now?
I like these right here that you can't see because they're off camera.
Yeah,
So
love it.
yeah. But these Batman ones,
Yeah, those ones are sweet. I do look at those. I know I saw the one from the Pattinson movie,
yeah,
and it's
yeah, I've
like
seen
those
that
are the
one.
ones that are hard to like not buy. But it's like if I start collecting another thing, my wife is probably going to leave me.
So so the great thing about those is though there's not like many of them. So like I think I'm missing his bike, his Batmobile, and I think Ben Affleck's got two. So I got a penguin, I got the penguin Batmobile, and then I've got an armored like Michael Keaton Batmobile. So there's only like 8 or so, but so yeah, but yeah, that's it. I just mainly comics. I like
Yeah,
comics
I think
right
that's
now.
definitely what brought us both together. I've started delving into the world of cards a little bit. I also have, you know, dip into the world of bourbon. This is Basil Hayden. It's pretty bad, but I just need to finish this bottle at this point. So it's like it's the mediocre. It's not bad. It's not bad, but I usually drink higher proof bourbon, and this is slightly lower. So I think for new bourbon drinkers, it's great. I don't personally love it, but
Is that what you're drinking right now?
yeah, yep, just neat in a glass. That's how I like to drink my bourbon. But
Nice.
let's say hello to Las Cruces out there in New Mexico, and what is up, David over there at Mark Spector's Comics? How's it going?
Let us know what you're drinking,
Yeah, yeah.
whether it's Coke or not.
Yeah, it's Thirsty Thursday. Let us know, in the chat. You know, also, yeah, if you ever have a random drink idea that you want us to try out, if it takes a lot of steps, I'm probably never going to make it, but I will say that maybe I would. I know as we were kind of pitching the idea of this show, and I said like, oh, let's ask some random questions. You brought up two questions, and I'm very interested in these questions because I also want to answer these questions. But the first one you said was pineapple on pizza, yes or no? How do you stand?
Oh yes.
Yeah, 100%. Like the favorite pizza of our family. Well, when it was just me and my wife, it was jalapeno, sausage, and pineapple.
Okay.
But now that we have my daughter, she sort of occasionally will get into it. And she likes pineapple on pizza a lot, but she likes bacon, green pepper, and pineapple. So not quite the spicy combo that you get there. And she doesn't like sausage, but she likes bacon. So
Yeah, but I bet that green. I assume it's green pepper.
yeah,
Yeah, I bet that adds like the sweetness or whatever to the
yeah.
pineapple.
It's definitely a solid combo for sure, and it's a little bit easier. Also, we got Chop and Drop. So hey, Chop, welcome.
Cheers.
And we got Diamond. Hey, thanks for stopping by. Hey, only sometimes pineapple. Right? Yeah. Like I think it's not an every time day, thing all the time, but I enjoy it.
Yeah.
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 The other question you brought up was cats or dogs. So how do you stand on that?
I'm for both. Like I don't now my wife on the other hand, the Mrs. like she is big like no cats. Like
No
that's
cats.
not
Yeah.
happening. They're way too high maintenance. We're not doing cats.
It,
But
it
like
Oh, sorry. I was just kind of started because I was gonna say the funny thing for me is that for the longest time, your avatar picture was just a dog, and I
Yeah.
like had no idea how you'd answer that. But then I like started thinking like, why didn't I realize that you would probably say dog, but you like both. I personally am more cats, only due to the fact if you would have asked me this question 10 years ago, I would have said dogs because I'd never liked cats. But when my wife and I moved in together, we got two cats, and they're just easier. And as an adult that occasionally likes to take a trip, taking a trip with dogs is hard. Whereas if you have cats, like,
Oh.
oh, hey, mom, can you stop by every like 3 days and make sure they haven't killed each other and there's not a bunch of pee and poop on the floor?
Right? Yeah. Yeah. We just got back from vacation. We had to board our dogs. We've got 3,
Oh, wow.
and 2 of them are Rottweilers, and that's my breed. That's what I love. That's what I grew up on, kind of thing. And that's one of them is that was my avatar, and I'm going back to her. I'm just finishing up that logo kind of thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love Rotts. That's my thing.
I I have talked about it because my daughter kind of it's weird. She's scared of dogs, but she likes kind of the idea of dogs. But she doesn't like big dogs. Definitely
Okay.
not big dogs. So I've always kind of been like into like bulldogs, and I guess like a French bulldog is probably maybe the perfect dog because they're little and they
Oh,
still
you
kind of look like a bulldog.
That's what my wife wants next. She's like total French bulldog. She said that, and then she went the other way and named off some big breed dog. And
Oh,
I was
like
like,
a
"Honey,
mastiff.
like yeah, something." It was big, and I was just like, "You gotta have to make up your mind here. I don't care what you get. Honestly, I just know as long as I'm living, I'm gonna have a Rottweiler. That's how this is gonna work." Like I told you this way before we even talked about getting married. Like Rottweilers is all I'm having. So
Well, always works. Hey, welcome, Neil. And yeah, it's Thirsty Thursday. It's fairly late for you, so out there. I think you're in the UK, so
apparently,
hopefully you're.
bulldogs fart too much.
It's that I think French bulldogs, especially. Did somebody say that bulldogs did there? French
Yeah,
bulldogs is like
Diamond.
the worst. Oh, bulldogs. Yeah, sorry, I missed that. Uh, and hey, what's going on, Travis? Thank you for joining us. But yeah, my uncle used to have a French bulldog, and it had the worst farts ever. Like I always got so confused. Like, how could something so little have such awful farts? But that was that dog.
I'm gonna let my wife know that then. That might have just sank
It,
that idea.
and who knows? It could just be that particular dog, or it could be the whole breed. I don't know enough. I just have one use case, and I'm still willing to put one of those in my house because I think they're slightly cute, right? So, what does that tell you about me? I guess.
Well, I mean, you also have little humans too that you can blame that on. Like,
Yeah,
it's not
yeah.
the dog; it's the little ones. Like,
Yeah, which well, yeah, my daughter definitely is a big farter, which is gonna be funny when she gets older and we can start telling people like how much she always likes to blame it on her brother. Like, I mean, he does have some big farts for a little dude, but you can tell when he makes his fart.
that's great.
But all right, well, let's get to. I think we had some topics, so let's go over so the people here can see what it is. It's October. We're in the spooky time. Let's talk some horror movies. I know that you're very kind of more particular than I am on your horror movie consumption. I think I watch literally everything that I can, but I know you mentioned that you have like I think what 3 favorite franchises.
Yeah, yeah. Like Saw, um, Halloween, and there was something else, wasn't it?
I think you said the Conjuring movies.
Oh, yes, I love The Conjuring. Yes.
Have you seen the newest Halloween movie yet?
Ends. Halloween
Yeah.
ends. No, I actually started watching Halloween Kills this afternoon because I've yet to see that one.
So it's very weird, and I'd like to. So did you finish it or you just started it?
I just started. I'm 30 minutes in,
Okay.
and I've only seen one thing so far. Are we doing spoilers? Is that what we're doing?
There's a movie that I'm probably going to talk about that I'll try to avoid spoilers, but I would assume with Holly, like with this movie, I would say that spoilers are probably
I was
fine.
gonna say because Kills is like 2 years old or something
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that.
yeah.
So,
It might only be 1 year old actually, but it's at
you might
least
be
a year
right.
old.
But there's a scene where like Michael just repeatedly stabs a dude that's pretty much already dead, and I'm like, that's totally not Michael Myers. Like, he's never done anything like that in any other movie that I know of.
I'm just gonna do something real quick. And sorry, I did not have this one set to go, but hey, we'll make it go here just so that people don't get upset. Now they know there are some spoilers possibly amongst. So, yeah. So of those three movies, I loved the first one. Of the new
Yes.
Halloween ones. The first one, like that was just like, holy shit, we're back. Like that one to me is almost like up
That
there with 1 and 2.
that was great. Oh,
Like
I loved it.
it's up there, right? And
Yes. Yeah.
kills. So I've watched a lot of people's rankings on the Halloween movies.
Yeah.
And a lot of people had kills really high up there. And I don't remember it. And I'm planning on hopefully finding some time. I took a lot of time off around Christmas. So I'm hoping that I have some time there to watch all three of these. And probably maybe with my wife. She likes these movies too. But watch all three
So
of them
yeah.
to see. But I remember hating kills. I thought I thought ends is fine. I understand why people will dislike end, but I don't. That doesn't matter to me. I'm pretty happy with most things, but like kills, there's just some really cheesy parts. And like what you were saying, just like, the repeated stabbing, that's not Michael Myers, maybe. I don't know. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. But yeah, I remember there was that. There was just a lot of things in that movie that while it was really good, I didn't love it.
Yeah. So like he wasn't even like like he wasn't even doing like a jab. It was like he had the dude like he was trying to torture his wife is what it boiled down to.
Oh,
And
yeah,
like he
yeah.
just kept putting knives in the guy. And I was like, that's not Michael Myers. Like that's just not what he does. Like he's never done that. And
Yeah,
I
and
understand.
that was just like a random dude.
Yeah, he was cleaning up in their bathroom and like a drone just happened to spy on him. He got pissed off about it. And so he just said, "Fuck y'all, I'm taking you all out." So,
Good old drones.
but yeah, like what like I was watching this and like the scene where he comes out of the house and it's he is totally like the Darth Vader of horror movies. Just
Oh, yeah.
watching him sit there and go through that fire department. I mean, it's a fire department, anyways. Not knocking the fire department at all. I mean, those are some big buff dudes. They're way buffer than I am. But I'm just saying, nobody ever attacks somebody, everybody at once. It's like it was Batman again, and everybody's like, "Oh, we're taking one at a time." And it's like, it's Batman. It's Michael Myers. Come on, just y'all all pile up on him. Let's go.
Yeah, I don't know. I definitely think that there were some flaws in that, but I saw a lot of people rate it really high, like highest out of those three. And it confused me, I guess. And I don't know. I mean, obviously, some people like different horror genres and different horror movies than me, but that seems surprising to me. So I'd like to hear your take when you finish it.
Yeah,
Just to kind of see, because who knows? The ending, I just remember too, my wife, like I was watching it and I think she was putting our daughter to bed. And I just remember she came down and like was like, this seems stupid at like the end of the movie. And it's like, granted, she thinks, some of the Halloween movies are very awful, right? When you start getting into like beyond 1, 2, 3, and 4, like the more you get into them, there are some bad parts.
I could never get through Season of the Witch 3. Like Halloween 3 Season of the Witch.
Oh, I love that one.
I could never get through that. And it seems like you either love it or hate it. Like,
Hey,
hey,
yeah, yeah. And that's the thing. That's the thing. I noticed that movie Halloween 3 definitely, while watching people put their listings or ratings of these movies, that's the one that definitely is either like in the top 5 or the bottom 5. It's
yeah.
never in the middle. And that's the thing about it. Like it's definitely different. It's the only one that doesn't have Michael Myers in it. And that's what I thought was cool about it, right? But I understand why, once again, understand why people hate it. And welcome, Swish Rips.
Swish.
But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I definitely am excited to see you finish these and let me know what your thoughts are on them, because I thought they were great. Like Halloween has always been my favorite of all the horror franchises for sure.
Mark Spector's watching the newest Halloween right
Yeah.
now while watching us.
Yep. It's a
And he's the
win-win.
only one that's drinking with us too, from what I understand.
Yeah, yeah. And anyone, if you are having a drink, let us know in the comments of who it is.
Drink.
Yeah, that Swish is an awesome dude.
Yes.
And but so one movie that I saw last night, and this was one I'm gonna go into like very little spoilers of. So my brother I watch anything horror. My brother watches like the big horror movies. Like he's probably seen Get Out. He's probably seen like what was
Yeah, that
that
was
movie?
good.
Like if there's he's probably seen like Midsummer, right? He watched
Okay.
Blair Witch. Like he sees the big horror movies. And he texted me, "Have you seen Barbaric yet?" And I was like, "No, what's it streaming on?" He's like, "HBO Max." And I'm like, "All right, I'll watch it tonight." And that movie is fucking insane. Have you seen it yet?
No.
Dude, it is, you need to see it. It is like, I don't know, man, I don't even know how, like, is it technically it's like a haunted house movie, but it's like it's weird. You think it's gonna go like 30 different ways than it goes, and that's what makes it, I think, really good. It's definitely gross and it's definitely not for kids, but I would highly recommend Barbaric.
So what is it? What is it about?
The loose concept is that a girl shows up at her Airbnb and there's a guy, or the key isn't there. She ends up freaking out. She calls the person that has it. They don't answer because it's at like 9:30 when she gets there. And she ends up seeing a light go on because she knocks on the door, like she's slamming the door. She sees the lights go on. A guy comes out and he's like, "Hey, I also booked this on a different, not Airbnb."
Yeah.
And so now she's in this place, and then they end up sitting down. They start talking, and he's just like, "Hey, at the end of the day, like there's a conference here. You can't get a hotel because he's like, it's raining. He's like, you should stay here. Let's just figure it out. And then she's like, well, whatever. And they're trying to figure it out, and they end up just staying in this Airbnb together. And like, that's pretty much the most I'll say about it. But it starts to like go in directions where you're like, how is this going to turn out? And it's never the way that you actually think it's going to turn out. And that's what I think made it really good. And then it kind of goes into another story, and then it kind of goes into another story, and then you're kind of back there, and then it's just like, what the fuck just happened? But yeah, for sure you should watch this movie. It's on HBO Max. It's crazy.
Is there a horror movie? Because I got one in mind that you like, but the ending just was garbage. The ending almost ruined the entire movie for you.
I feel like Halloween ends or not ends. Well, Halloween Ends might be that movie. Halloween Kills might also be that movie. I'm trying to think. There probably are a few where you get there. I watched the movie The Uninvited, and it's like that's one of those movies where the ending kind of ruined it for me, but it also is what made the movie kind of good. I don't know if that makes sense or not, but it's kind of like, here's a twist, but also like, was the twist as good as the twist should have been? I didn't see it coming, I guess.
That's funny.
What is the one that you have in mind here?
Mama.
Oh, is that the one where it's like the teenagers go to the lady's house to drink?
No.
Okay.
I don't know what that is.
Okay. Is this the one with like who it's like two little boys then, and the mom's got like a weird face mask? Is it that movie? Nope, definitely not that either. Wow.
No. Mama it came out, let's see, it was before my son was born, I believe. So that
It looks
was
like 2013. I'm looking it up now.
okay. It's about two little girls that were like found by themselves in the woods. Their mother had perished or whatever. But she came back as like a poltergeist, and they found the girls and went to their uncle, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, or they went into foster care, something to that effect. It's been a long time since I've watched it. Anyways, the spirit of the mother comes with them, and then there's a whole like story behind that and the haunting and all this other jazz. In the end, um, one of the girls goes off the cliff and with the mother, and that's the end of the movie.
All right.
It's like,
Thanks, Mom.
the fuck is this? Like, you had me until the end. Like, what is this?
Yeah, and I think that's kind of the hard thing with horror movies sometimes too, right? Is that the end is kind of usually this twist or this weird thing, right? Where once you get there, if you're invested enough, it could just ruin it for you.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. There was one that was like not critters. I can't remember what the name of it was, but it's like the little like the teeth fairies from like Hellboy. It was almost like them, but in a house.
Oh, I
And
know what you're talking about because that was the first movie that I watched. I'm like 95% sure that's the first movie that I watched. It was did it have the girl that was married to Tom Cruise in it?
yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Give me
yeah.
a second. I have to check my Instagram, but I definitely watched that movie. I think it's called Don't Be Afraid of the Dark
I think they're right. I think. Well,
or Don't Be Afraid of the Dark. Yeah. It's this
okay.
little girl like so it's the little girl that loosely looks like Katie Holmes and Katie Holmes in the movie.
Yes.
Like
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
this is the movie cover of it.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah,
Yes. Yes.
yeah, and
Yes.
they're like they kind of are her friend. She befriends them, and yeah, it gets definitely weird. But hello, Kenneth Bird, and what is going on? Second Street Marvel. I lift things up and I put them down. Awesome. And yeah, cheers to everyone out there if you're having a drink with us. Another movie that I saw that I was definitely surprised on because I thought the originals were super cheesy. That being said, I saw the originals loosely about a year ago, and I watched the remake that just came out on Hulu, and it's Hellraiser.
Okay.
And I think the hard thing about Hellraiser is it's one of those movies where the body horror image of it is supposed to be scary, where in the old ones, they're kind of cheesy. And in the new ones, they're scary as fuck because CGI is so much better than it is now, right? Like there's literally people's skin pulled off bodies, and that scares me a lot. Oh, 13 Ghosts is one a lot of people said, and I have still not watched it, so I should probably watch that at
It
some
is a
point.
good one. It's kind of like I could see it getting dated really quick, but the story behind it, I think, is still really good. So it's one of my favorites.
Yeah, I definitely looked at that and I never saw it on any of the streaming platforms to my knowledge. So that's probably why I didn't watch it. But
I think it's
I'll
on
definitely look.
HBO Max.
Okay. I'll
I
definitely double
think.
check that.
I think Diamond was saying something about like Stitches. I haven't seen Stitches. Have you seen?
I did not. I saw that. I don't know what Stitches is exactly. I know my coworker also doesn't like horror movies, but he was like, "Have you seen Smile?" Smile's like a new. It's fairly new. It's in theaters currently. It'll be out in a few weeks, I think, from what I've seen. But the like image is like a jokery smile.
Cool.
Yeah. So
I've been wanting to watch Black Phone, and I've heard like
oh,
lots of people raving about Black Phone.
Black Phone and Barbarian are easily the 1 and 2 best movies that I've seen of the 29 horror movies I've watched in the last 30 some days.
What's Black Phone about?
It's about a guy that kidnaps kids,
Cool.
and there's a black phone in the basement, and it's kind I don't know. Yeah, so there's kind of like some weird like there's yeah, I don't know. There's some kids who have these weird like powers that they've gotten from their moms, and you'll kind of see that evolve in the movie. But yeah, it's really good. Ethan Hawke, I think, plays like the bad guy,
Yeah.
and he does a great job. It's solid. Like that's like a good ass movie. Like I definitely watched it by myself and told my wife, like, this is one that you should definitely rewatch because this is like a very good horror movie. And granted, I think that's one of those movies that people like my brother who do not watch horror movies will probably watch this movie, right? Because it's something people talk about and it's good.
Have you seen Big Bad Wolves?
I have not. I don't even
Okay. Big Bad Wolves is like an Israeli. It's not a horror movie, but it's like a thriller, I guess.
yeah, well,
And
they classified as thriller horror on
do what now?
it's classified as a thriller horror from
Oh,
IMDb.
Big Bad Wolves is?
Yep.
Yeah, because it's like they. So anyways, it's about a guy who's a known like or who's thought of as being a child predator,
Oh,
and the father of one of the children who's been murdered has kidnapped this guy who's a suspect, and then the detective that's after the murderer winds up getting kidnapped by the dad essentially as well. And so they interrogate him in like a house that he's like this dad has been planning this for a long time, and like they interrogate him in a house, and it just kind of goes down from there. Like it's all from the one that I watched. I think it was on Netflix when I watched it. It was all like subtitles,
okay.
so there wasn't a dub version. But like, and I hate reading. Like when I'm watching anything, I hate it because I'm here to watch something, not read it.
Yeah.
Uh, but it was still really really good, solid. Um, I see where Diamond says, "Oh
Oh, Stitches is
yes,
an Irish B horror slasher. Interesting. Is that on any streaming services by chance? And also, yeah, sorry if I did say like he kidnaps cool kids. It's cool. I didn't necessarily mean it like that, but like, yeah, I mean, it's a very good movie. You know, obviously, what makes him such a bad character is that that's what this dude is doing is kidnapping kids, right? Yeah,
I own." Go ahead.
oh, I was just gonna say Under the Devil's Reject. Like I like most of the Rob Zombie stuff, minus like Salem's Lot and Halloween 2 was awful.
Yeah, Halloween 2, I didn't like. I like Rob Zombie,
Yeah.
but I didn't like where I liked where he went with Halloween 1, his version of Halloween. I liked it a lot. Like I
Yeah.
thought it was awesome.
Yep.
And then 2, I was just like, "Bruh, you smoked way too much on this
Yeah.
one."
Like
Like
the
you
and I don't know. The one weird thing about him, and like this is fine. I feel like he just randomly tries to put his wife in his movies shirtless as much as he can, which is also like a weird flex, but like whatever. If that's what you're into, do that, I guess.
That's funny. Yeah, she's in like everything apparently. I own The Devil's Rejects and House of a Thousand Corpses, and still I've owned them for years and still have not watched them.
Oh,
Like I
you should
just
watch House of a Thousand Corpses. I don't know
I
which one
want
first.
to.
Figure out which one comes first, but they're both great movies. But House of a Thousand Corpses has Rainn Wilson in it.
Rainn
Dwight
Wilson.
from The Office,
Oh, okay, okay.
which is kind of comical to see him in other stuff. I don't know.
He was in the Meg too, but I wasn't real happy with that. I was happy when, he got offed, but because he was
Yeah.
jackass in there.
Yeah, he kind of is in this movie, but he's like, I don't know. It's a good role. Also, it's funny. I know Mark from Legion of Comics. He's been recommending more. I think his favorite genre is horror comedy, which is one of my least favorite genres of horror. But he recommended Slither, which is James Gunn, one of
Okay.
his early movies, and it has actually Pam from The Office is in it, which is kind of funny. Like seeing her, she plays like a secretary also, which is also kind of ironic. But
Congratulations to James Gunn, by the way.
yeah. Congrats to James Gunn. Hey, what is up, Chaos and Comics? One of the few people from the YouTube comic book community that I've drank beers with multiple times that doesn't live in the same state as me. The only person in the YouTube comic book community that I have watched amateur MMA with live.
What's horror comedy?
You know, horror comedy like Jack Frost is a perfect example, right? The bad guy is a snowman that stabs people with with his carrot nose.
How's Krampus? Have you ever seen Krampus?
I have not seen Krampus.
I gotta watch that. I wanted to watch it when it first came out, and like I kept like recording it and everything, and then it would get deleted, and I never got to watch it. So I've got to get my hands on that. I gotta
It
watch it.
is. It's either on Peacock.
It is.
Okay, it's either on Peacock or HBO Max because that's kind of where I've been. Those seem to have the best horror movies right now of ones that I haven't seen before.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was looking through Peacock today, and I seen it there.
I can objectively say that the worst of all of the movies that I have seen is probably Girls with Balls. Shout out to Comic Book Poser for recommending that movie.
Is that like a spinoff from like The Hangover 2?
It is a movie about a girls volleyball team that ends up like loosely telling these guys to fuck off, and then they kind of try to murder them. It's on Netflix. It's called Girls with Balls. Volleyball.
I hate Netflix.
Yeah, Netflix has some definitely good ones and some definitely very terrible ones.
Like I had like my son he was such a Netflix junkie at such a young age. I was just like, bruh, I'm taking you off. Like, you're done. And I had to get rid of it. I was like, this is not happening anymore. So
That is my daughter with YouTube. She just watches like Toys Unlimited and like weird videos of people either playing with toys or like slime or something.
yeah, mine's all about like Minecraft.
A little bit of both.
That's funny. Oh.
But I guess maybe it is time for us to go to our next topic that we have, which is horror comics, which is so much different than horror movies. Am I right?
Absolutely. You kidding me?
I, I just started rereading a book that has been one of my favorite horror books of the last few years. And I'm starting to reread. I'm like 4 issues into the first trade, and it is Nice House on the Lake. I'm not sure if you've read that or been following Nice House on the Lake, but
I totally missed that boat, and, like, I've thought about trying to catch up because there's certain covers that I like and I want, but then I'm just like, there's so many other things that I want, so I always put that on the back burner.
yeah, yeah. And the hard thing is, I think that issue 1 got hot for a while.
Yeah.
James Tynion has kind of been this hot like author right now, but dude, I like it. It's one of my favorites of his. I mean, Something is Killing the Children is probably his best book, just because it's like so appealing to most people that anyone can probably pick that up and most likely like it. Like, I know some people do not like it, and some people were like, it should only been a mini, but whatever. It's still, objectively, that book is probably one of the most popular indie books, whether you like it or dislike it. And Nice House on the Lake kind of does to me where like Department of Truth gets kind of off the rails, and I don't know. Some people really like that about it. I think that Nice House on the Lake kind of stays in there. So the idea here is that there's like this group of friends, and they all get. I'm loosely going to ruin the first issue for you, but at this point, it's probably not that big of a deal.
It'll be alright.
So they all get together at this beach house, right? They have this one friend that they all have in common. He invites them to this house. They're all a little bit older, and he's just like, "Hey, I'll meet me here." He gives them all like code names. We're gonna have a fun weekend. We're at this crazy beach house or lake house in Wisconsin, and then he ends up letting them all know that he is an alien this whole time, and then the entire world is dying, and he brought them all here because they are now safe, and he's
Oh,
loosely like giving them whatever they want, and he
okay.
is giving them like just whatever they want, but they're like stuck in this lake house, and they have to figure out what do they need to do to like survive. They don't, and the hard thing that even you don't know in this book is, has everyone actually really died? Is what he's saying real? Is it not real? Like, because he kind of brings everyone together. You all have this trait, right? Like one person is the comedy, one is the accountant, one is the journalist, one is the like, maybe I don't know all the like things, but everyone has this thing. So you all have your specialty. And it's kind of weird because as I'm rereading it, I kind of had noticed a lot of stuff that I missed in it, right? Like there's a lot of this talk about like, when you read it full as opposed to like monthly, it just flows really good. And you kind of see like some of the stuff that you might have missed that first read, which I think like that maybe is making this book really good. But yeah, I've enjoyed it really bit. I know some people might not like it. It kind of, I mean, I think it's 8 issues in, and it hasn't really done anything like crazy, but it's still solid, where you're just kind of like, this is only going to be 12-page books. How can we be at issue 8 and not a ton of stuff has happened? So who knows where that's really going to go. But yeah, and I think Department of Truth, I just needed to read in trade format. I don't know. Have you checked out any Department of Truth?
No, I missed the
It's
boat on both
yeah,
those.
it's all conspiracy theories. So every issue, instead of like a new monster, is like a new conspiracy theories. There's like one two-parter. I think maybe Bigfoot was 2 parts, but everything is just this new conspiracy theory. And this guy is kind of researching conspiracy theories, but all the conspiracy theories also are more horror-ish than they should be. So
That's the one that's, like, really intrigued me that I've, like, kinda put more, like, ahead of something because I didn't do Something's Killing the Children. I didn't do Nice House on the Lake. I didn't do Stray Dogs. Like, there was so many indie horror stuff that I
yeah.
never even touched that I just kinda missed out on that, like, Department of Truth is the one thing that I've been keeping my eye on, and, like, if it does come down enough, then I'll jump on and start, like, grabbing those as I can, or if I see them out in the wild, like, that's definitely what I'm gonna grab
Yeah, like
because
Stray Dogs of all of those books is the one that I would probably say I would recommend the least, maybe, which might be a hot take because a lot of people really like it. I haven't reread it because there's a podcast I listen to sometimes called the Wednesday Pull List. And one of the things that
Yes.
they did when they did their Stray Dogs one is there's a lot of plot holes in that I think you miss if you don't read it. If you read it weekly or monthly, I guess, right? And
Okay.
hello, Adam's card closet. Where I think there's just a lot of plot holes. And it's kind of one of those things where you don't really see it either because the main characters are dogs and not humans. So like why did they just do something like this? Oh, well, it's a dog. That makes sense, right?
Right.
And I didn't say that, but now like hearing them say that, I mean, I don't know. I loved it when we were like reading that book and doing the comic burrito. That was like a big book that we all talked about, and it usually made like my top 5 every week, and that's reading like 15 books, right? So it's not terrible, but like I just think it's one of those where it's kind of,
Oh,
I don't know.
it was on the top 10 countdown for weeks.
Yeah,
Just like it was doing the same thing 8 Billion Genies is right now.
which
Like
that is a book I've never read.
I I never touched it either. I'm not a big indie guy though either. Like it's really got to stick out to me for me to like start jumping on.
Yes, and I think that that's kind of the thing, right? It's not supposed to be deep. It's pretty much just like it's a cool concept and it's cute, and I think it's very compelling to a lot of people, and it is definitely different. That's the thing, right? Like, for these horror books, it's a horror book where it's like cartoon dogs. It's loosely like, a Disney movie that's like a horror movie, right? So it's like kind of weird. But yeah, I know. I think most of the horror books that you've kind of talked about, I know that we kind of like going back and forth with some like the bigger ones. But do you have like? I know you pitched like 4 to me. Is there one of those that is kind of like your favorite of all of them?
Oh, I think I pitched what did I pitch? I hit Killer Be Killed, Gideon Falls, and Lock and Key.
Yep, and I think there was maybe one more in there, but I forgot what it was.
Apparently, it was the last one because I can't think of it.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. Which it's
so we'll
funny.
kick that one out.
Yeah, Killer Be Killed. That is one of the first indie books I purchased off the shelf and read because I saw that cover, that first cover, and I was like, "This is a badass cover. I have no idea what's in it." And I remember I like read it and I was like, "Oh, I like this. It's intriguing because it's like I like crime stuff.
Yeah.
Big fan of crime, and this is a crime thing that just kind of has this weird demonic thing going in it too, right?"
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it's 20 issue run. It's cutting like it's done. I don't think there's any spec on it at all.
None.
Um, it's
But I
done
own the
by Ed
first, the second, the
Brubaker.
third, and the fourth print of that book. So if it ever becomes spec worthy, I own them.
And they're all freaking amazing
Yeah, all the
covers on top
covers
of
are
that.
sick.
Oh my god. But yeah, like that book, I love that book. It's the artwork in it is freaking amazing. The story in it is awesome. I've not finished it yet. I have it all. I just haven't read it. Um, but yeah, it's I love the art. That's what pushes me a lot in a book is the
The art.
artwork. And so like if the story is kind of whatever and the artwork is amazing, oh, I'll keep reading it. Like just because I love the artwork. But like if the artwork isn't there, it's taking a long time for me to freaking keep going with it. So,
I 100% agree with that. And I'm really sorry that I'm like weirdly looking down. I chipped one of my nails and it was really bugging me. And if I didn't cut it, it was going to bug me for the rest of this time. So I just had to get that out of the way. But,
that's funny.
oh, hey, look who joined us.
Hey, my
Yeah,
honey.
welcome. Uh, yeah, I love that book. That was one of those books I think I picked off the shelf. And it's just so different, right? Because
Yes.
there's a ton of crime books, there's a ton of demonic power books, but how many of them are working together? And like the whole time you kind of don't even know if it's
Exactly.
real or not. And that's like the cool thing about it, I think.
Yeah, because you're wondering the whole time, like you'll sit there and go through one or two issues, and you'll be like, "Oh, this dude's seriously possessed," or like he's seriously like he's being overpowered, and then the next issue you're like, "No, he's just fucking crazy." Like that's
He just crazy.
uh, Gideon Falls. Again the artwork for me is just on point. I love it. It's
Yeah,
about like a
Andrea
two
Sorrentino is fantastic in art.
Yeah. It's like a multi-dimensional kind of like story. You'll take place in one area with a man who's going through therapy, it seems like. And then you'll go back and it's a priest that's like trying to help keep a community together. And there's a myth about a black barn that just appears and bad shit happens. So like and it goes back and forth, and then you start seeing where it's almost linking together and stuff like that. Again, artwork is just so on point. I love it. Can't recommended enough. I don't think there's anything attached to it right now either. So like,
It might have, but nothing crazy. Yeah.
yeah, nothing crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy that book too. That's one of the few books I've went back and reread. When issue 27, I think, or 26, whatever the final issue was, I went back and I reread every issue of it before that issue went. And it's kind of one of those weird books because I feel like some of the like some issues are super dense. Like
Yeah.
it's a 15 to 20-minute read, and other issues are like a 4-minute read because that's how like crazy the art goes in and out with this interdimensional thing. And I know on my like top 5 horror recommendations, that's one of the ones I put in there because I kind of knew that you had talked about that being one of your favorites before. So I was like, I'll just talk about it here because you'll bring it back up, and I don't have to waste one of my picks here for that. And yeah, but it was like explaining it is hard, right? Without like kind of ruining it. Like it's kind of a haunted house book, but it's also like a weird like psychological thriller. It goes between different dimensions, different time periods, even because towards the end of it, they're in this weird future sci-fi world and stuff. So it's like all over the place in what it does, but the
Yeah.
art is so great. And it's just, I don't know, it's one of those that I think it's recommended. And yeah, it is out there. I think if you just go on Hoopla 2 and you just want to read it, you can find it there and just read all of it. And Jeff Lemire is one of those guys that I think whenever he writes a book, I'm probably going to pick it up. I have in some of his most recent stuff, I've been less of a fan lately, which is kind of weird, but most of his stuff I think I could recommend to people.
What are
I don't know
yours?
if you've read this before, but Nailbiter is one that I was kind of saving to talk about this. So this is Joshua Williamson. This was like his first indie. And the weird thing about this is that I'm normally a huge slasher fan. Like that's my favorite horror genre, probably.
Okay.
This is a slasher book. But for the longest time, I would have almost considered this more of a crime book than a horror book. But this, if you look up best horror comic book, this is probably going to make that list because it's a slasher, right? But slashers, I guess, in a movie form seem scarier than in a comic, right? Because in a comic, it's a little bit less scary, I guess. I don't know. But the idea is that there's this town that creates serial killers. And the
Oh.
nail biter is loose. It's kind of this Hannibal Lecter thing where the nail biter is helping. He's a serial killer that eats people's nails off. That's his calling card. That's why they call him a nail biter, because he'll eat your fingernails off. But he ends up having a change of pace or heart, and he ends up helping these cops find the rest of these serial killers in like this town that just bred serial killers.
What?
Yeah. Welcome, Claire. And yeah, it's 3 of these big hardcovers. I mean, the art is, and let's find the art here because I mean it's pretty good. It's kind of dark. There's nothing crazy, but yeah, I mean it's good. It gets, there's a ton of like there's some cool stuff like this, But yeah, I mean it's just,
is it anime style art?
not so much. I mean, I don't know. It kind of like
Looks like it has a hint of it.
Yeah, but not really anything too crazy.
Okay.
But yeah, it's pretty solid. And they recently came out with a Nailbiter, The Return or something. And I think they're even saying that there's going to be another chapter of that beyond. But it's kind of cool because, yeah, I mean, it kind of there isn't as many slasher style horrors. And maybe there aren't. I just don't read them. Or maybe I'm just not considering them, I guess, as much horrors because, like there's a book, That Texas Blood. I'm not sure. That's definitely a crime book at heart, but it takes some of these themes that might be kind of more like one of the bad guys in a book of like it's a crime book. They're trying to figure it out. One of the bad guys or whatever is this like demonic cult. So that in itself is kind of horror-y. The other is like a serial killer that like wears a creepy mask and like leaves clues for people. That is also kind of a horror-y thing, right? But not, it's also just a crime, right? But I think just serial killers in themselves are kind of spooky in a way, right?
Well, it sounds like the TV show True Crime is what it's at, like a book format of that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Or True Detective, is that what you're talking about?
True Detective. Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's
yes.
kind of like that, but it's just the same. It's the main character is this one cop there, and these are like the first season or the first, I guess, volume is he's an old man, and then the next one he's a young man, and then the next one he's like a slightly older man, right? So it's just kind of like taking these detective things throughout his career, but it's the same town, same like
Okay.
small town Texas. And yeah, it's got some cool stuff. But I mean,
Well, it
yeah,
sounds like he
Nailbiter
needs
is
to get the
pretty.
hell out of there.
Yeah. His name's Joe Bob, and his thing is well. There's a lot of panels where he's just like well, like instead of saying like damn or whatever, it's well. But the for that Texas Blood, and this has kind of gone slightly way crazy beyond where it was. It's the son of the artist from Kill or Be Killed, who did the colors of Kill or Be Killed. It's Sean. Uh, what is his? Oh, sorry. His name is Jacob Phillips, and his dad is Sean Phillips.
Okay, cool.
I have the trade like over here, so I just did a turn and I saw the name, so I didn't have to look it up. So that's why I did that.
That's funny. What else you got?
All right, so I got this one other one that I think this I think this might be one of the best comic books that I've ever read. And it's called
Really?
My Favorite Thing Is Monsters.
Huh.
So this is like a Fantagraphics book, and like so this is written in the, and I shouldn't just blind open this because there's randomly boobs. So it's written in a like notebook form, right? So it's like a notebook kind of.
Okay.
And all of it's drawn as it's about this. So it's this like teenage girl, and she pictures herself as a werewolf, but she's also like a detective, right? So she's kind of trying to figure out this murder, but she just doesn't like the way. I mean, so I think she is Latino, and she gets made fun of in school, and it takes place like, you know, people treat her different because of who she is. So she kind of thinks of herself as a monster, but she loves monsters. So this is like her way of coping with it. But Emil Ferris, who wrote this was her first attempt at a comic book, and this is like only part 1, and this is how big it is.
Holy shit.
Right. And yeah, so it's awesome. It kind of deals with a lot of stuff. Like it's really cool. Oh, this is a good rendition of like the main character, the girl, of how she sees herself as this like werewolf, but it's kind of like this weird like monster. You know, it's also similar to that, like a crime book, right? But she pictures herself as a monster throughout this other thing, and she treats other people, looks at them the same kind of way. But it's a pretty good book. I know that one of the reviews on Amazon for this gave it 1 star, and they said, this is a book about a preteen. So I bought it for my preteen kid, and it is very much an adult book. What the hell? And they gave it a 1 star. When, and granted, it might have changed at some point, but Amazon literally has it written as mature rating, not for kids. But it's
That's
just
the
like,
shit that kind of pisses me off. Like all the time. Like if you make a mistake, don't sit there and knock whoever's stuff it is just because you made a mistake. Like,
and I think that's a hard thing with Amazon when you review stuff on Amazon, the way that you review stuff on Amazon, right? Because you're right. It's definitely not a book for kids, but it probably told you that it wasn't a book for kids. But I guess that's your rating on it because that's how you bought that. And the weird thing that gets weird about it is they probably like write the way that they send you the questions to answer them, and then they become a review is like, well, how's the shipping? Like, you know, I rated a product 1 because they were like, how is the shipping? Well, the thing never came to my house, and I had to get a refund, so the shipping was awful, right? But who knows? They might just put something there that like, oh, the shipping was awful and blah, 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 because that's how I reviewed it, right? Well, yeah, it was.
well, like,
But that doesn't mean it's a bad baby gate because it didn't show up to my house. I got it because it was 4.5 stars, and I assumed that it would be a good baby gate, but it just didn't show up.
Well, I assume like that's where the kind of Amazon's at, is that like something's gonna get enough ratings that we're like the BS ratings of super people essentially is gonna come in and it's gonna be like, okay, you just kind of get lost in the sea of of reviews because you make no sense. You make no sense. Oh, that's great. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like I'm a father of a 19-year-old, and anytime I've ever bought her something that was like that, like I've always looked at it beforehand.
Yeah.
And more like I could see like his daughter saying, "Hey, I want this book," and him just buying it and giving it to his kid, and maybe that's what happened.
No, they specifically said that they read that the blurb was about a preteen kid living in Chicago, so she bought it for her grandson because he was like a preteen kid living in Chicago.
Oh. Well.
People be dumb. But yeah, I definitely made when we were on Comic Burrito, we're doing like these burrito boosts, and I made a boost on this, and I specifically made fun of that person on a video for loosely 3 minutes. Because I originally thought it would be funny to wear a mask and scare my daughter, and then she started crying on video, and I thought that was a bad idea to put it there, so I had to add another little segment that wasn't me making my daughter cry in a wolf mask.
That's great.
But hey, speaking of wolf masks, I think we got one last thing we need to talk about here.
Look at that segue, son of a bitch.
Yeah, come here if you want silky smooth segues. Werewolf by Night. So I know that when we originally first started talking about this, you had just mentioned Werewolf by Night is also coming out in this month, so we can talk about it. I didn't even ask if you watched it, but I assumed when I said that we could talk about it, you had watched it because you would have said, I haven't watched it yet if you hadn't.
Oh,
So
I've watched
have
it
you?
twice now.
Twice. Interesting. So overall, like it, dislike it, mediocre on it.
Like it. Like it. Absolutely. What about you?
I liked it. I would say it probably ranks in the middle of all of the Marvel Disney Plus things for me.
In the middle?
In the middle, maybe. I don't know. I would probably put Hawkeye over this, Miss Marvel, and WandaVision.
Okay, I definitely have this above Hawkeye. Hawkeye didn't get me.
I see. I loved the Matt Fraction run of
No,
Hawkeye,
no.
and like this is loosely that, right? So if you didn't like that,
Yeah.
I don't know. Hawkeye's the weird. This was a definitely better portrayal of Hawkeye than you got in any of the movies.
Yes, no, I agree. Definitely.
And I think Kate Bishop is going to be a cool character that's probably going to show up and be great. So she was pretty good. She was easily probably one of the better parts of that show, but I enjoyed it. And who knows, I only watch things usually once. So
No, I definitely agree. I love what's her name that plays Kate Bishop?
Haley Steinfeld.
Steinfeld. Yes. I loved her rendition of Kate Bishop. She reminded me a lot of my oldest, which I thought was great and funny. And I agree with you. Like, I feel like this Hawkeye was definitely a lot closer to the comic book. I think we got a lot more of him to be closer to the comic book than we ever did in any of the other movies. But yeah, I don't know. It's just not my stuff. It's not my style. WandaVision is definitely at the top of my list though. And Werewolf by Night, I don't know. I really dug it. I love the old Universal monster movies and stuff like that. This gave me a lot of those kind of vibes, especially with Jack Russell taking on like the way they did his makeup and stuff like that looked a lot like the Universal type monsters makeup and stuff. So
yeah,
loved it, loved it, loved it.
Hey, welcome, Jay's Mix. And yeah. So so I really liked it, obviously, but
My wife's comments. How dare she?
Okay, definitely over Werewolf. Yeah, 100%. So they're kind of two different things. And I think Werewolf by Night might be the first one of these that I actually rewatch because it definitely probably has more rewatchability, right? Because it is only an hour?
Yeah. Yeah.
Where you don't have to blast a whole thing.
I like that. I like that they did a special of it instead of TV show. I really like that.
And it was definitely cool. Like the thing though, for me, that was like, there were a few things that definitely confused me about it because it's kind of like, you get all these side characters where you're just like, I have no clue who these people are besides like the one person that I've heard people specking about. And like, are these people important? Does it matter? Probably not, but we'll see. And I was also like kind of confused the whole time, like, what's going on? And then like you see Man Thing, and I was like, let's go.
Right.
Sorry, I have spoilers down there, so if I spoiled something, if that's spoilers, so it's not my fault. Yeah, that was sweet, and like, yeah, I guess I could have just said Ted showed up. People who've seen it would know what I'm talking about,
right? Yeah,
but yeah, and that was sweet. I mean, the visuals were great. It also confused me that it was in black and white until like the last 3 minutes.
I liked it.
I don't know what the difference made or what the change was or why it was that way, but that was the one thing where I was like, well, why did it change the color at the end?
I think it was just to give you a look at, like, Man Thing at the end, Jack Russell at the end, Elsa Bloodstone. You'd actually get to see all those characters that are
Yeah.
probably gonna continue on because they're the only ones that survived outside of the butler at the
Yeah.
end of that show.
It says spoilers.
I mean, it says it down there. Like,
Yeah.
it's oh, here we go.
But yeah, I mean, it was great, but like, yeah. Also, this is a question because I definitely was like, I don't really know which one Elsa Bloodstone is, and then I looked it up, and she's a redhead, and I was like, yeah, why wasn't that hair red? Like,
Well, what's crazy is that, like, it looks like her first appearance, she was blonde.
oh yeah, is that the one where it's like kind of like a weird butt cover, but you can't tell if it's a butt or a bridge?
Right, the one that everybody calls Elsa Bootystone.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, like, it looks like her hair is blonde there, and then there's a book, if you look on, the
Well, there was the one that came out with her sister's first appearance or something, or cousin that was just pretty big. That it's just her is a David Nakayama cover, I think, and she's red
yes,
hair with the gun because I bought like 2 copies of that and I sent one to somebody that was like, I couldn't get it. And I was like, I've got one for you because I'm a nice person.
Death of Doctor Strange, Elsa Bloodstone #1, I believe, is what that book
Yeah.
is, and yes, that is her on the cover, David Nakayama cover, and she is redhead on there, but there's actually a book before that where she's, like, turns to a redhead, so if we're, like, specking or whatever, then maybe that's a book you look for, but she's not blonde, she's not redhead, she's brown-headed or black-headed in the show. I mean, maybe it doesn't
I think you
matter.
would say brunette or
Sure, yeah,
black hair.
that. One of those.
But yeah, I don't know. I like it was overall good. It was a solid movie, and I think you should watch it unless like you don't like scary stuff. There was definitely some more fighting, it seems like, than some of the other stuff on there.
I would definitely suggest you letting you watching it before you let your kids watch it. Don't be an Amazon
Yeah.
reviewer.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, it's definitely but is it PG-13? Is it R?
I don't know. I don't think it's R, but like I don't it's I wouldn't say it's R because the language isn't there really. Like she didn't say shit until the very end. And then and I think that's even allowed before getting an R. And then the splatter that's shown is not red. So it's not technically
Blood.
looks like blood. So I
It's
don't
kind
think it makes the R rating or definitely not the mature rating.
Yeah, I
But
know that I had a friend who whenever we played Mortal Kombat, we could only play it on a Super Nintendo with him because in Super Nintendo
oh
you could turn the blood off. Whereas on Sega, you
yes.
could not, and his mom wouldn't let us play if the blood was on because the blood is the real difference out of that, right? I'm
Right.
I'm trying to find the rating here, and I still don't. I'm on IMDb, and it doesn't even really have a rating. Maybe it is just not rated.
Uh, I just know that like it'll sit there and if
Oh,
it's
TV 14.
okay, cool. And that makes sense. Like I was kind of bummed out because, you know, I thought my son would like this because he likes some kind of scary stuff like that sometimes. But when I saw like, hands getting chopped off and the dude having a dart through his mouth to his skull and stuff
Probably
like
not
that, I
the.
was like, yeah, probably not gonna let him watch that yet.
You
So
can watch The Mandalorian though.
yes, yes, we do
That's Star
partake in
Wars
that.
violence. I mean, I let a 3-year-old watch The Mandalorian with me, and she was like, "I like Baby Yoda."
um, I was also disappointed to see not disappointed. I wasn't disappointed, but I was to see that like the Marvel Zombies TV show is going to be rated R or mature or something like that.
Yeah.
Because that's like my son's favorite episode in What If is the
Oh,
Marvel
the zombie
Zombies.
one, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm like, man, like,
But who
which
knows?
I'll
I mean,
watch it and go from
I don't
there.
know. I mean, I mean, granted, we grew up in a different time, but I remember being like probably like 7 and watching like Terminator 2. Probably shouldn't have watched that movie when I was 7, but I did.
How old are you, Cole?
I am 37,
Oh shit, I'm older than you. Only by a year, but
I think. I just turned
I
this
think.
year. Dude, at this point, pretty much after I turned 20, like 30, it's like you kind of don't even remember anymore, right? Because that's not really important, unfortunately, which is sad to say, I guess,
Right.
but there's that. So,
You're doing good just to keep up with your kids and your wife
yeah.
and their ages, like the important stuff. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, it was good. I definitely liked it. I think there were some flaws, but I mean, I don't know. More or less, it's just like, why is it in black and white? And then why is it not in black and white?
I wonder if the black and white was to help with the transition. Like, I know that She-Hulk got a lot of flack because of the CGI.
Mm.
And so I wonder if like the werewolf just went well with the black and white. I wonder if they'll change that once they go to color. I
That
hope
was
kind
one.
of not,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, I don't know. That was the one thing I think too. The werewolf was probably the transformation didn't. I don't know. I was not very like. It didn't seem like a great werewolf to me. I had a better werewolf. I don't know. Maybe I don't know. Maybe I need to rewatch that part again. But
see, but like I love the old monster movies. Like I love the Frankenstein, the Dracula, the Bela Lugosi Dracula, and stuff like that. Like the Mummy. Oh, those are things were like great for me. Boris Karloff, like love that stuff.
yeah, I don't. And that's a hard thing. Like, I guess I got into like horror at an older age, so I think like a lot of the like OG stuff, I'm like, nah, I can take it or leave it, right? Like I know like for Comic Burrito, we did this whole thing where last year we did a bracket and we rated horror movies. And I know one of the movies Todd put up there for monster movies was Frankenstein. And I watched it and I was like, this might be the worst movie that I've watched out of all of these movies. And I watched Halloween Town. Just because like that's the thing. That movie is like I don't know. It's a story I know, but it's the first time I've seen the movie, right? And it's not, I
Yeah.
don't know, it's not necessarily like scary. And I get that it's like a classically good movie, maybe of horror movie, but like I don't know.
No, it's definitely not like it definitely wouldn't be considered a horror movie of like our times.
Right. Like, I mean, even Rosemary's Baby is the same way.
I've never watched that.
But Rosemary's Baby, you watch, it's like a 3-hour long movie, which is
Oh, fuck
nuts for
that.
that
No.
old. But like, yeah, that's one of those movies where you watch it and you're like, that still holds true. I never need to see Rosemary's Baby again, but it was worth one watch for sure. But it's kind of like, I don't know. Are you going to watch Sixth Sense multiple times? Probably not.
No. God, once the spoiler on that one,
Yeah.
yeah, no, you're done.
And that's loosely what like Rosemary's Baby was like the first big movie, I think, to have one of those where the whole movie is just, is this a thing or is this not a thing?
By the way, to answer my wife,
Oh,
yes, Ultraman is amazing. Okay.
I don't know
Absolutely.
if I have seen Ultraman. So, sorry.
It's not horror at all. It's kaiju stuff. No, it's great. I love it.
Oh, yeah. Well, a kaiju is kind of horror-y though, right? Because they're monsters.
I mean, as
Yeah,
much
but
as
it's different, right?
as
Because
much as
Godzilla
Universal
technically is
Frankenstein is.
a horror movie, right?
Is it?
I mean, I don't know. It's a monster movie, and monsters are technically in the horror genre, right? I don't know. It's weird. That's the weird thing, right? Yeah, but
yeah. See, I just felt
horrible.
it was.
Oh, so this is the thing. He's making fun of something that you love now.
Yeah.
Oh, good,
Yeah.
good.
She does that. Yeah.
Well, now I think Ultraman is perfect the way that it is. Okay.
I love it. I think it's great.
Yeah.
It's the original.
So I don't know. I think that anyone that has not seen Werewolf by Night probably should see Werewolf by Night. Make your own assumption.
I definitely think it's one of the better things that Marvel's put out this year.
Yeah.
Like,
Unless you don't like monster movie stuff or you don't like
Yeah.
black and white stuff.
or female-led things, which Werewolf kind of got a bad rap on that. Like,
I guess I don't know. Really
I mean, it was titled Werewolf by Night, and Elsa kind of stole the show on it.
Yeah.
Like, which I'm not. I like Elsa. I think she's a great
But
character and stuff. But
I mean, I have not read any werewolf stuff
All
besides
right.
like I read the one issue that Taboo wrote, and I was like, maybe this isn't for me. But I think like even in the comic book, Werewolf by Night was not the best thing in the comic book. Like everyone knows that Werewolf, the best issue of Werewolf by Night is the one that Moon Knight is in it. So it's like,
Same as Tomb as Dracula. Like nobody gives a shit about that book, or nobody
well,
gave a shit about that book until the Blade
Blade.
issue.
Well, the first
Like
issue though is still maybe worth more than the Blade issue, right?
I don't
Doom
know.
Dracula
Maybe
1, because
now.
that's the one where he's holding the. I mean, it's classic horror cover. So
Yeah. Uh,
what are you looking at down there? We got somebody. Everything lately has flaws with CG, and it's kind of crazy. I just watched a special on CG being better 10 years ago than it was today. And so I think the difference there maybe is that the reason for that maybe, and this is just an assumption I'm making, is that only certain things use CGI, right? So the things that had the big budget. And now that CGI is not as hard of a thing to do as it probably was 10 years ago, more things are using CGI. Hence, you're getting things that aren't as good.
yeah, I can see that. We're like
You know, like
it starts
TV
to become
shows
watered
usually, right?
down.
Like, because that's the thing too, and it also depends because like some TV shows might use CGI and it might not look good. Like some people say like She-Hulk, for example. But then you look at like shows like Game of Thrones that are also doing CGI, and the CGI in that is fantastic. I mean, the final season of that show was awful, but
Right. Okay, but like also I think people got to take into consideration that like Marvel has more than one CGI studio working on each project.
yeah,
You know what I mean? Like when you sit there and look through those credits and stuff like that, there's more than just one in there. And I think that's the case is that like me and the guys on Comically Comics podcast were talking about how it seemed like anytime you'd see Jen in a lit area, like at work or something like that, where her hair's pulled back, like she don't look good CGI wise. But like if her hair is down or she's in a dark lit place, like they did really well on the CGI at that point in time. Like it was odd. And
hmm,
so it was almost like different companies had different versions of gin, and that's who they worked on.
interesting. Yeah, that'd be something that like I don't know. I probably will never go back and watch it again. I mean, not. I actually liked it. I didn't dislike it as much as other
Yeah,
people
we did
did.
too.
But like, I don't know. It's just once again, I very rarely go back and watch stuff. And if there was something of the realm that I probably would watch, I don't know if that would be the one that I would pick. But
Right. That's funny.
so I don't know. I think that we're pitching an hour, so I don't want to keep you too long. But is there anything you got coming up on your channel that people need to check out? For those of you who are here too, down below, Instagram and YouTube, you can find it 22's links down below.
Thank you, sir. I hope you put your stuff down there too.
Well, I have my links there that always just show up, but
Oh, that's good. Find Cole's stuff there too.
yeah,
So
you can find me too. But
other way.
if
There we go.
if you're here watching this currently, there's a good chance that you already know most of that stuff.
That's true. I'll have my Monday countdown, not this coming Monday because it's Halloween, so I'm taking off another Monday, but the next Monday I'll be doing it again. I should have some videos coming out this week. I'm gonna try to anyways. So I don't know what they're gonna be though. PGX, I have another order coming back, but this time it's from PGX East, not West. I didn't realize there was two separate divisions,
That seems very odd.
right? But there is. And so
Are they different costs?
No, technically no. PGX West is taking modern everything essentially, but they don't have to be fast tracked. Whereas PGX East is taking stuff, I think it's modern fast tracked.
Oh, okay.
So like it's automatically bumped up to the $20 per book, whereas PGX West I
For
think
fast tracked.
was like $19 a book.
So it's like $2 more than CBCS to get it fast tracked.
Well, that's fast tracked and graded.
Yeah. Well, CBCS to get it graded is $18.
Oh, and then it's $2 to get it fast tracked.
I have no idea. I'm just saying.
Oh,
It's $2 more than just a CBCS graded.
got you. Yes.
Shoot the question, but you keep going, and we'll answer the question.
But yeah, so I didn't realize when I made my first video that there was two separate divisions. So
I didn't know that now. Well, I think I saw that video though, so maybe I do know that. Maybe I didn't watch that video. Who knows? Maybe I'll go back and watch it tonight.
well, no, because I didn't know it when I made that video, so I
Oh,
didn't say anything about it.
well then good. I feel like I heard you talk about this though. Did you talk about it on one of your
Probably my live stream.
alternate?
One of my
Yeah.
yeah, probably one of my alternates. Um, so I think that's coming back soon, and I've got really good feelings with it because I've been talking a lot to the guy that's there over it. It seems like, and he reached out to me and was like, he has no idea who, like, he's talking to me through my like government name, not my YouTube name, like,
Awesome.
so, um, and I tried to make sure like he had no idea. So there's that. I sent an order off to CGC, so that should be coming back at some point in time. They still haven't even like checked it in yet. Like I know you did the whole like you did a whole signature verify like not signature verified, but made them sign for it when they got it.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't do that because I was being cheap, and I was like, nah, they're caught up now. They'll just go ahead and put it in. No, it's been like a week. They
So that's the thing. It still takes. I think it usually took about. Yeah, it was weird, and I don't know, but yeah, I know with like CBCS, it was like if they signed for it, it was. It seemed like they checked it in as received like 2 to 3 days later, and if they didn't, it was about a week to a week and a half. But who knows? It could have just been the times, and I only did it once, and then I just paid the extra $3 every time.
Oh, but that was CBCS though that you did
Yeah,
that with.
yeah.
Okay, so mine's with CGC.
I've never done anything with CGC before, so
Really? That's
I might
surprising.
try them now because now I think they're like now the turnaround time's insane.
Yeah, it's like fast track's 10 days and it's like 20 or
Non-fast
30.
track is 20 or 30, yeah.
Yeah, so I was like, I did non-fast track because I was like, I want to see. Like,
I saw a poster that looked like this. I don't know if they're actually in a comic or not, but I saw a poster like this. I think if you're in the Slapnuts Discord, I think I posted it in there. But I don't know. It's probably either under baseball or comics. But I don't know if they're actually in a comic. So if they are, let us know.
yeah.
But yeah, that's wild. Yeah. See, I don't know if I mentioned this to you, but I've mentioned it in a few of the groups I'm in on Instagram. I have a CBCS order that has been there for 315 days. I've emailed them 3 times. I've left probably 3 voicemails. But apparently, and this is a fun tip for everyone out here, if you have stuff at CBCS, if you want to get notified, reach out to them on Instagram or Facebook, because I reached out to them on Facebook and somebody called me and they were like, "Hey, these are just moving into the like they're in the pre-grading stage and they're just about to move into grading, like the encapsulation stage, and they should be to you within 2 to 3 weeks." So eventually I'll make another book or reveal video. But she also called me and she was like, "But this is my number and this is my direct line. So if you want to save it, you can call me and talk to me anytime you have an issue, and I'll be here for that." So I know a lot of people have said that CBCS is like
Oh,
horrible customer service. Maybe
yeah.
this is a new thing that they're kind of changing. So while it does take forever to get this one call, maybe it'll fix that because now I have a person that I can call. Granted, it's mostly just like, the turnaround time is 224 days maybe right now. So I mean, like, it's definitely over that.
Why is it so long?
I mean, they moved. I'm guessing that kind of had it. The last books that I got came back roughly like 20 days longer than what they said. So like not that big of a deal, right?
I mean, I
It is,
guess.
but it isn't, right? But
in, in in
in
the
the grand
grand
scheme of things, if you're
scheme.
waiting 150 days, 170 days is really not that much of a time.
Right. Right, exactly. Exactly.
But yeah,
I
I don't know. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes. But now I have this person. And it was nice because I had her on the phone and I was like, "Hey, I also have these other issues that are less pressing, but can you fix these two real quick?" And she did. So that was pretty nice, I guess.
awesome. Good deal.
Yeah. Uh, I'm probably gonna maybe come up with at some point over the weekend my top 5 most anticipated comics. I might not make that video, but I probably will. That's probably I'll probably rip some Marvel cards. So far, they're winning the vote. So if you think I should rip other cards, find my Selection Sunday video and vote on it. But
Did you
Marvel cards, maybe. So for the first
what
time,
Marvel
maybe
cards?
the Marvel metal cards.
Did you find some?
Yep.
I looked something the other day. I didn't find any.
Yeah, they. I've seen them around, but the first time I saw them, they were like weird expensive. So a lot of the times, like Meyer is weird because like for cards, they usually charge $5 to $10 more than Target and Walmart. But
Why?
I'm pretty sure the Marvel metal cards, I have no idea what those cards cost. But I think they were way cheaper at Meyer than they are at Target because I thought they were $35 a box or $30 a box. And at Meyer they were only 30.
Oh
So
wow.
I don't know. But it's weird. Yeah, Meyer sometimes will have one thing that's like less expensive than everything else, but it's very rare that it is. But I don't know. They're just weird. And like that's the weird thing because you just kind of figure out with cards, it's weird. You can just figure out how to sell them. I mean, like a local card shop will sell a box that you can get at Target for $30 for $63 because people will pay that amount of money.
Right. Right.
But
I look for them now every time I go to look for Walmart packs. So
yeah. Yeah, Walmart, I don't know. Walmart's kind of weird. They're usually pretty good with prices. And oh, I saw Comic Tom post some stuff about the Walmart park packs for some good uh variants that are coming out. Apparently there's a Miss Marvel one with Moon Knight
okay.
and what was the other one? I don't know. I'll figure it out. We can probably talk about it off air because people don't care about it as much as we probably care about it. But that was it. This was Thirsty Thursday. For the most part, it ended weird. Let us know down below if there's something you want us to talk about the next time that we do one of these. If there's a drink you think we should drink, we probably won't drink it unless it sounds good and is easy to make. But hey, let us know anyway.
I'll do my best.
Yeah, I've been Cole. He's been 22. Everyone have a great night and peace.
Have a
I
good one.
didn't hit the end button, so now this is awkward.